Hey guys, in this video we're going to see how do we solve certain binormals problem when we import it inside of Unreal Engine. So here I have the error that usually comes inside Unreal Engine, where any particular geometry that we have has degenerated tangent bases as well as some nearly zero binormals. So we're going to see how we exactly solve this and how to avoid certain problems in the future. So we have mainly 5 cubes or 5 different types of problems that appear, and certain things that we do that may not solve them. So let's see the first one. So the first one is our very first cube we have that does not have any UV. Now when I export this guy out, so this is a cube, and these are the binormals of the mesh, or the tangents as we would call it inside of Maya. You can find this underneath the display polygons, and you can turn on tangents. So tangents are similar to or tangents in general are sort of perpendicular to the vertex normals, and right now they are also codependent to UVs. Now bitangents or binormals as they would call it is a pretty big topic on how they actually work with, but a simple understanding to any 3D artist is that binormals are codependent to UVs as well as the smoothing groups of your geometry. So I'm going to switch off the vertex normals, and I'm going to primarily just go into these errors. So primarily is if your object does not have any UVs, it should look something like this, where you'll have this blue line sticking out, and these blue lines are nothing but the tangents of the mesh. Now in the red line that you guys will see, that's the binormal that we usually see, and the green line, or in this case if I set this to green, set to face, these green lines by default are the vertex normals. So the red ones you won't be able to see now. What I'm talking about is these red lines. These are the binormals, and these are the tangents of the mesh. So tangents will appear, but binormals will not if you do not have any particular UV. So if I export this out, and if I take this inside Unreal Engine, I'll export this out as my errors with no UV. Export this out and come inside Unreal, get these guys in, and import this mesh. So as soon as I import it, you see the error with degenerate tangent bases as well as nearly zero binormals. So what this means is basically saying that, hey, you know what, we need some UVs to compute certain things. So let's say we have another cube over here that only has UVs on top, right? So where we see the UVs, that's where you sort of see these red lines coming in, and where these blue lines are generated. Now blue is indicated as the green line of the of the V-axis, or the green axis in the UV, and the red indicates the red. So for example, once you guys turn this around, you'll see that these turn and are dependent on each other. So these represent how they are placed in a UV, and right now we do not have any UVs on the bottom as well. So if I export this out as well, and I call it errors with some UVs that are there and some UVs that are not there, and if I come to Unreal and if I import that out inside of Unreal, I should get the same errors again. So some of you guys may think that, oh, you know what, I'll unwrap everything, but here what I did was I deleted 2 of these UV shells, or these faces that were there. But the main problem that what we want to see is we want to see some of these guys, there's only one line going across, and sometimes you guys, let's say for example, I'll auto unwrap this, and I'll only delete the bottom half. So sometimes y'all may not see any particular difference when you'll delete just one half of it, alright? And y'all may not get the errors if only one half is missing certain things, but you will get the error if at least the main portion of it is missing. So these also cause the same errors. So let's say for example, like file export, this is my errors with some UVs that are there, some UVs that are not there. Import it in. This is my second one. and I should get the same error. Alright, now the third thing what we may do is, let's say we do not know that UVs are causing the problem. So some of us may try to come to mesh display, harden and soften edge. So if UVs are the issue, and if this is softened edge and if this is hardened edge, right, no matter what I do, and if I export this out as smoothing groups with some UVs, but I try to change the normals of the mesh by hardening edge, by coming here harden edge, by coming to this one and softening edge, what we see is that it does not make any difference, right? So we see this third one, right, and it still gives us the error. So another thing that we may do is we may auto unwrap it, but we may set the vertex normals somehow of the mesh, and the vertex normals of the geometry may end up, for example, let's say we have this by default, and we come into mesh display and we set some vertex normals to be any particular to set it at a particular angle, and when you see these vertex normals, right, they may be pointed in one particular direction, but when we see the binormals over here causes some problems, right, especially the ones that actually overlap, right. These are the ones that actually causes a problem. Same goes for here. There's a blue one that overlaps inside of it. We can barely see it, but it's there. And there was another one, this red one overlapping on this side of the face. So ideally you do not want any red or blue lines, so to say, to overlap around the faces or on the edges. That's what causes most of these problems. And how you solve that? Well, you just solve that by doing certain things I'll show you in a while. So I'll just take the same error. So even if we auto unwrap everything, but normals is not correct, we will still get the error. So let's say I export this out, and this will be our re-UV, but for some reason we set the vertex normals in one particular direction, and that may end up looking in a particular, that may have a particular look to it. So if I get this back, if I get this one inside Unreal, we still get the same problems. So now we're not only talking about UVs, but rather we're also talking about the normals, but not necessarily the normals, but in this case in specific to the binormals and the tangents of the geometry, which also are dependent on the vertex normals. Here we have another case where let's say this is my default geometry. I only selected this one particular vertex, and I came to mesh display and I set vertex normal. So here we can see that this tangent is overlapping on that edge, and my vertex normal is going towards one direction, but the tangent is overlapping around there. So if I file export this guy out as well as a single set vertex normal, right, that should have been the same error, so it should be something like this. And if I come to Unreal, and let's just rename this one, call this error, and put this guy in, and we should still get the error. Right. So now I'm going to show you guys a bit on how do we actually solve all these issues. All right, so I'll come to my so-called solutions, right, and I'll hide all of these guys. So there are three main solutions, or the three options that we can work with. One, namely, is re-UVing a particular geometry. Now the UVs can help if you want to re-UV a particular geometry. If you do not UV it correctly, re-UVing can help, but once again, this is not the main reason most of the time. These two are more common to be used. So for example, even when we re-UV the tangents, it should help if you re-UV. So let's say I take this UV, which is auto unwrap, and I'll take this inside and I'll say no error re-UV, get this inside Unreal, no error re-UV, and that should not cause any errors. Another thing is we can set to face all our particular, so let's say after re-UV, right? We can set to face. We can come to mesh display, set to face. That should reset all the vertex normals of our particular geometry. So let's say, for example, we had an average vertex normal. We can come to mesh display and set to face. That will make sure that it resets the normals, and if there are any weird ones, then that will reset it. So set to face is a decent tool that we can troubleshoot with. And yeah, I can get this set to face mesh, get inside, and there's no problem importing it. Third option, last but not least, is if you guys tried out all of these two options, then it's only a matter of, let's say for example, you guys came in and y'all set the vertex normal of this guy. This will cause us a problem. We can select all vertexes or some vertexes, let's say for example all or some, dependent on you guys. So let's say you can select all of them. You can come to this unlock normals option box, and that should unlock the normals of the geometry, and that should reset them. And this unlock vertex or unlock normals, I should correct that. This should be unlock the vertexes, which technically unlocks the normals, and not the normals of the vertex. And this also does the trick. Come on over here and unlock the normals, and there you go, no errors. All right. So here we can see that by doing this, these three should solve most of the problems that all of you guys have. And yeah, importing the Unreal Engine should not be a problem anymore. Right. So hopefully this helps you guys, and yeah, so stay tuned for more videos. Bye bye.